Hello and welcome back to Ready Steady Play, where today I'm going to be talking about Vanagloria, the card game. Once Vanagloria was an enchanted world where all the people lived in harmony, but sadly that's not the case anymore. Today Vanagloria has been corrupted and marred by the dark sorcerers, whose insatiable thirst for power and dark magic has threatened the destruction of life itself. For years, these masters of black magic have warred with one another in order to seize the alpha energy source, and whoever gains control of it will have dominance over life itself. Vanagloria the card game is a strategy bluffing game for 2 or more players aged 14 and up, and it takes between 30 and 40 minutes to play. You'll take on the role of one of the dark sorcerers, fighting to take control of the alpha energy source and gain dominance over life itself. You and the other sorcerers are equals in the black magical arts, and so you'll have to use cunning, strategy, and guile to overcome your rivals. In this video, I'll run you through the components that you get in one of these boxes, I'll tell you how to set up the game, and I'll run you through the rules of the game. My big thanks to Vanagloria Games who've sponsored this video, and as usual you can find all the sections in the description below if you want to understand the layout of the video or find a specific rule that you might need a refresher on. But that's enough of that. Let's begin our journey into Vanagloria, the card game. So we'll start by talking about the components. You can see I've got 2 boxes here. Each box contains enough for 2 players to play the game. So with just one box, you'll be going head to head. Let's take a look at the components inside. We've got one rules document, and then you'll find we've got 50 cards inside the box. We've got 2 identical decks of 15 dark sorcerer cards. Inside each deck, you'll find 3 dark sorcerer cards that look like this, 3 magic swords, 2 shield cards, 3 focus cards, a duplication, a summon sword, and 2 attack cards. And this deck is exactly identical, except a different color. We've also got 20 scoring cards in denominations of 1 to 5. We've got 2 1s, 8 2s, 8 3s, 1 4, and 1 5. So now that we've got everything out the box, we're ready to set up the game. So now we're going to be setting up Vanagloria the card game. I'm going to put away this box because I will be setting up a 2-player game, although I'll mention where the differences for setting up the 3 or more player game comes into effect. Remember, each box of the game allows you to play with 2 additional players. So to start with, each player will take one of these dark sorcerer decks to have. If you're playing with 3 or fewer players, you'll also remove one of your shields so that each player will have a total of 14 cards. So with 3 or fewer players, you'll only have 1 shield. So we'll take that out for both players because we're setting up a 2-player game. In your Dark Sorcerer deck, you'll find 3 types of cards. You've got these Dark Sorcerer cards here, Magic Sword cards, and action cards that are divided up into 5 different types. So we'll start by taking one of the Dark Sorcerer cards and putting it in front of us on the 0 side. We'll take the other Dark Sorcerer cards and the Magic Sword cards and just put them to one side nearby. The remaining action cards will form your hand at the start of the game, so keep them close by. So here you can see 2 Dark Sorcerers set up to face off against one another. Now we're going to set up the scoring decks. So here we've got the 20 scoring cards. We're just going to give these a shuffle. If we were playing with 3 or more players, we would shuffle in the scoring cards from the other box as well. So now that we've shuffled, we're going to create a face-down scoring deck of 5 cards per player. That means in my 2-player game, this is going to be a 10-card deck. In a 3-player game, I'd put out 15 cards and 20 for the 4-player game. So I've got my 10 card general scoring deck here. Now I'm going to take the remaining 10 cards and deal 5 to each player. This is their personal scoring deck. Each player will keep this in their play area close by. If there were any cards remaining, for example in a 3-player game, these would be set aside or put back in the box. They won't be needed for this game. And with that, the only thing left to do is to pick who's going to be the first player, and you can use any means that you all agree upon for this. And we're ready to start playing Vanagloria, the card game. Everyone knows that magic is powered by energy, and in the world of Vanagloria, dark sorcerers are competing to control the alpha energy source, or alpha ES. There's only so much energy in the world, and whoever has amassed the most of it, once it's all being claimed, will gain control of the alpha ES. We amass energy by winning these scoring cards, and each card is worth the value printed on the card. The game will end when all of the scoring decks are exhausted, and whoever has the highest total sum on their cards will be declared the winner. They are the Dark Sorcerer who has amassed the most energy. In the event that one or more Dark Sorcerers is tied in the end game, you'll reset this general scoring deck and keep going until one of those tied Sorcerers wins another card, and then they are the winner. The game is played in a series of rounds, and in each round players are going to take turns competing to win one scoring card. The card will be awarded at the end of the round and a new round will begin. The game is also divided into 2 distinct phases, but the only difference between the 2 phases is that in Phase 1, players will be competing to win scoring cards from this deck, and in Phase 2, they'll be competing to win scoring cards from their personal decks. Once all the decks are exhausted, the game will end, and players will tally up their total points to see who the winner is. A round is made up of 5 distinct steps. We'll reveal energy cards, assign action cards, reveal action cards, and then we'll score the energy card and do a bit of cleanup. So I'll walk you through these steps, and I'll explain the rules as we go for each one. So the very first thing that happens is we're going to reveal an energy card. And how this is done will depend on whether we're in Phase 1 or Phase 2 of the game. In Phase 1, we'll just reveal the top card of this deck. In Phase 2, we'll reveal the top cards of our personal scoring decks. So the round will begin with the first player revealing the top card of the scoring deck. This is the card we're competing to win this round. Take note of the value on the card, because it may not be worth very much to you. In the second step of a round, players will assign action cards to their Dark Sorcerers. They'll assign 2 action cards per Dark Sorcerer card in front of them. At the start of the game, each player has 1 Dark Sorcerer, so they'll only be assigning 2 cards. Remember that your hand consists of all of the action cards from your deck, so you can choose any 2 of these cards to play out. I'm going to go through all of these cards so you understand how they work and what they do. But for now, let's just imagine that both players have assigned 2 cards to their Dark Sorcerers. In step 3, we're going to take turns revealing these cards. Starting with the first player, each player will reveal 1 card. When a player reveals a card, they'll resolve what's on the card. And play will go round the table in clockwise order, with each player revealing a card until one player cannot reveal a card. Once one player has run out of cards to reveal, this triggers the end of this step. Play will continue to go round in clockwise order until all players have revealed the same number of cards as the player who triggered the end of the step. This means that not all players may get to reveal all of the cards they put down in the preceding step. Once every player has revealed the same number of face-up cards, that triggers the end of the step, and we move into the 4th step, scoring the energy card. We'll determine the winner of the round, and I'll explain more about how we do that when we get to the explanation of the focus action card. But the winner of the round will take this scoring card and put it face up into their play area. If there's a tie, the card will be discarded and no one will win it. Then we get to the 5th step, the cleanup step. In step 5, the cleanup step, players will pick up all of their action cards and return them to their hand, and any sorcerers who are on 100% focus will go back down to 0. Remember, all sorcerers on 100% focus go to 0. That's important. Play will continue in this fashion for phase 1 of the game until this entire scoring deck has been awarded or discarded. Once that happens, we'll move into phase 2, which is the scoring of the personal scoring decks. This is carried out in exactly the same way as before, with the following difference. When a round begins, players reveal the top card of their personal scoring decks instead of the general scoring deck. So we'll flip these over like this. At the end of the round, instead of scoring the card here, you will score the card from your personal scoring deck. So for example, if our blue player here won the round, they would take this card from the top of their personal scoring deck and put it face up with any other energy cards that scored over the course of the game. All the other players would take the top card of their personal scoring deck and discard it. This means that during phase 2 of the game, it's particularly important to pay attention to the card that you have the potential to score this round, and also the cards your opponent or opponents have the potential to score. If you see that one of your opponents has a particularly good card, then you might want to work to prevent them from scoring that energy card this round. Remember that all players discard their energy cards. This ensures that all the personal scoring decks will be exhausted at the same time. And now we understand how a round works, we can look at these action cards and really get into how the game is played. There are 5 different action cards available to you in the game. 1 duplication card, 3 focus cards, 1 summon sword card, 2 attack cards, and a shield, or possibly 2 if you're playing with more than 3 players. You will get to play 2 of these cards face down to each of your dark sorcerers in a given round. But you may not get to reveal all of them. We'll start by talking about the duplication card, and then we'll talk about the focus cards, the summon sword card, the attack cards, and finally the shield card. And when we get to the focus cards, we can talk about how you win those precious energy scoring cards. The duplication card is how we're going to get more sorcerers into play. When you reveal a duplication card, you can put another sorcerer into play. Take one of the sorcerers from your pile here and put it into play on 0% focus. Because this sorcerer entered the game this round, it has no action cards assigned to it, and it cannot be the target of attacks made by opposing sorcerers. As you can see from the number of sorcerers available to you, you can only have a maximum of 3 sorcerers in play at any given time. If at the beginning of a round you have all 3 of your sorcerers in play, then you cannot assign your duplication card. Having more sorcerers out on the table allows you to assign more action cards. This helps you set up bluffs and double bluffs against your opponents. It also allows you to gain more focus on your sorcerers. So let's talk about focus action cards. Sorcerers have 3 levels of focus: 0, 50, and 100%. They always start on 0, and they can't go over 100. Focus is the degree to which the sorcerer can concentrate on acquiring energy, and it also functions a bit like a health statistic. When you reveal a focus card underneath a sorcerer, you may increase their focus level by 50%. Provided they're not already on 100. Focus is important because at the end of the round, the player with the most sorcerers on 100% focus will receive the scoring card for the round. In the first phase of the game, this will be the card that comes from the general supply in the center of the table. In the second phase of the game, this will be the card that comes from your personal scoring supply. Timing when to reveal these focus cards will be critical to your success. You don't want to reveal too early whether you will have a sorcerer on 100% focus or how many sorcerers you'll be able to have on 100% focus, because this will give it away to your opponent. You also don't want to have too many sorcerers on 100% focus, because remember, at the end of the round, all of them will go to 0, regardless of whether you won the card or not. So you're going to need to stop your opponent's sorcerers from building up all this focus and winning those energy cards, and so you're going to need a sword. Remember, at the start of the game we created this pile of 3 magic swords in our play area, and now we need to know how to get them out and give them to our sorcerers so they can start doing some attacks. We're going to need to play a summon sword card. When you reveal a summon sword card under one of your sorcerers, you take a magic sword from your supply here and just put it under your dark sorcerer. Now that dark sorcerer is equipped with a magic sword and can make attacks. Let's talk about attack cards. An attack card can only be assigned to a sorcerer with a magic sword. When you reveal an attack card, you choose an enemy sorcerer to attack. When you hit an enemy sorcerer with your magic sword, their focus level will be reduced by 50%. Remember how I said that focus functions a little bit like a health statistic? If the sorcerer was already on 0% when they were attacked, then they were removed from play. If they had a magic sword, then that's also removed. Then return your sorcerer and any magic sword they have to the stockpile at the side of your play area. Don't worry, you can always bring them back later using your duplication card. Any action cards assigned to the sorcerer are also removed from play and cannot be resolved from this round. Even if you have a way to bring the sorcerer back into play, those cards are already gone. If the target of an attack is your only sorcerer in play and they're on 0% focus, they lose their magic sword if they have one, but otherwise are unaffected. They can still reveal action cards that they have assigned to them. So what we don't want, after we've spent all of this time duplicating our dark sorcerers and equipping them with magic swords and building up focus in order to win energy, what we don't want is to lose all of that. So that's where our shield card comes in. So we have a shield card available to us, or maybe two, which we can use to counter the effect of an enemy attack card. Shields work in two ways. You can reveal a shield just like any other action card, and this blocks the next attack against this sorcerer until your next turn. Block just means that if this sorcerer is attacked, they won't lose any focus. Note that this only blocks the first attack against it, so in a game with many players, your sorcerer may still be taken out even though they revealed a shield card. When an opponent reveals an attack and declares your sorcerer the target of that attack, you can also reveal a shield card in order to block it. When you reveal a shield card in this way, this will count towards one of your played action cards this round, and you will still need to reveal an action card on your next turn. This may result in one or more of your opponents getting to play 2 action cards in a row. It's worth bearing that in mind because, of course, there may be strategic situations where you don't want this to occur. There may also be strategic situations where it benefits you not to reveal your shield card and actually just lose 50% of your focus. If this is the case, you can always choose not to reveal a shield card. So at the end of a round, you might have a situation that looks a bit like this. In this case, we're going to see which player, if any, has the most sorcerers on 100% focus. In this case, our blue player, as opposed to our red player, has a 1 sorcerer with 100% focus. That means that they're going to win the energy card. They're going to take it and put it face up in their play area. And then we'll move on to the final step, cleanup, in which all players will pick up their action cards again. And additionally, any sorcerers on 100% focus will go down to 0. In this case, it's just this sorcerer here. Then, the next player in clockwise order will become the first player, and we're ready to begin a new round. Thanks for watching this rules video. If you found it helpful, please consider liking the video and maybe subscribing to the channel. I've also left some useful links in the description down below, so you can check those out, and I'll be back tomorrow for another adventure. Bye!